winning the race. It was springtime on the island of New Florida, and the trains on the tracks were being really useful indeed. In the countryside, trains were being useful too, and Amtrak was doing a good job meeting freight trains and letting them go first, as the other engines did their work as well. Trains in the Midwest have double-decker cars called Superliner and single-decker cars called Horizon or Venture, because this is what makes trains really useful indeed. Women trains can be useful too because their job is to haul gender products to space stations to where rockets take the products to the other planets, because that is why they're really useful indeed to whatever job makes the operators happy with their money. One day, an MBTA train and an Amtrak train were having a race. The two trains were neck and neck, and the crew member was behind the counter at the cafe. "First one to South Station to head-on collision," said the passenger, and the freight train roared by. It was on its way to Los Angeles, California, because there were lots of cars. And some of the freight cars had graffiti on them, which was drawings that people use that is disrespectful. But the freight train carried on with its cargo to be really useful indeed. It was a long train. "We're neck and neck," said the coach class passengers to the MBTA passengers. They raced past the shunting yard, and they rolled down the line. In the yard, there were several engines, and the train rolled over the diamond, and the other train did too. And at last, MBTA wins the race, called the Amtrak crew member employees. Over in the yard, Mr. Cakester came to see Randy and the other engines. "Today, Randy," Mr. Cakester said, "Krista, Nicole, and Sierra are going to work with you delivering race car parts to the racetrack on the other side of the mountain. "That's a long way away, sir," Randy said. She was thrilled. Sasha pulled up. "Just to let you know, trains take a longer time to stop than cars and trucks do," she said. "I pull the express." "That sounds good, Sasha," Randy said, and she steamed off to Wunsingoff Union Station. Before long, Randy, Krista, and Nicole buffered up to the first half, and a switcher engine shunted the second half. And the first half was shunted too. "All set and ready to go," Sierra said. And she buffered up to the brake van. Meanwhile, Amtrak's Empire Builder was on its way to Chicago, Illinois. It had Amfleet cars and Superliner cars. It was a long train. Just then, the crossing gates came down, and the train rolled over the grade crossing. And then, the Hiawatha Flyer came into view. "Choo-choo deja vu!" the three engines said up front. And then the passenger train came into view, and the passengers saw all the cars and trucks on the flatbeds as it went down the line, and over at the grade crossing, the train horn sounded. And the gates began to come down while the lights flashed. The Amfleet cars were in front, and the Superliner cars were in rear, and the transition car was adjacent to the Amfleet car. "I just want to state out one thing," said Krista. "That sounds good that you have to pull freight cars," Sierra said. "That's a good thing to state out." Over at the crossing ahead, the gates began to come down and the lights began to blink. And the engine steamed over the crossing. "Woman train coming through," Randy, Krista, Nicole, and Sierra said. Meanwhile, Becky was in a siding, and the engines had to stop at a signal to let someone go by. "I hear an evil laugh," Randy said. "Sounds awful." And then she saw the evil engine, who was raunchy. She was evil and very angry. "I enjoy being inappropriate," she roared. She was cross. "Stealing things is the best." And then she rolled down the line. I'm an engine that can upset people! Out of my way! Then she roared by. Becky was scared. Oh my, she cried. Grush! Why was Raunchy so angry? Asked Becky nervously. She was frightened. I don't know, said Krista. But we must keep going. And at last, they reached the racetrack.